So with 2024 in the books, we're looking forward to 2025, and everybody is hoping that this will be the year of the bull market. Although we've been in a bull market for pretty much 2 years now, if we see the 12-month chart on Bitcoin. However, really, we all know that the big gains on the altcoins front, especially, come in the last part of a bull market. And the big question is, are we going to get this run? Are we going to get a really crazy out season like we used to in previous years? Or the little pumps that we already have in some pockets of the market are just going to continue and that will be it? Or maybe we'll get a black swan. These will be all the things we're going to discuss here, and specifically what happened last year, what my plans are for this year, and we're gonna go do a good old overview of some of the positions because we haven't done this in a while. So yeah, let's jump right in. On the 12-month chart, Bitcoin looks incredibly good. We closed the year on a 120% candle. That was 2024 and 2023, we had a 155% candle. So we're clearly in a bull market. And if we look at previous years, you see that pretty much this pattern repeats like a clock. So we got, this is not the full chart on Coinbase. I think Bitstamp has the full chart, but you pretty much see the pattern that we have 1 year of red followed by 3 years of green. Same here. If we zoom in here, exactly the same thing. So you can tell that everybody is very excited for this move, for the year that is coming and it's already started, and we're going to see what happens. However, if we dive into the details a little bit on the weekly, you can see that this wasn't an easy ride last year, especially for me. Although, I made some money and I made a specific video discussing like what went wrong last year and what I could learn from last year. But this period here was really difficult for a lot of people, a lot of traders. And although Bitcoin pretty much didn't move that much, it was just consolidating for months. This was like 6 months. It went down 27%, actually at one point, even more, like 30% down. And it looked like almost like it's going to break down and go down to 40, but it didn't. And before and after, we had massive pumps. One of them was because of the ETF, and the other one was because of Trump's election as president towards the end of the year. So very significant events. And if we zoom out, crypto is just getting adopted worldwide. Some places more than others. Seems like the US now is going to have a lot more adoption, and things are going good. And I just want to give you an example. My sister bought Bitcoin, if I remember correctly, somewhere around this area. So around 12 to 30K was her average when I orange pilled her. And she has done nothing. She hasn't sold any. And guess what? She's up massively. She's up massively here. It's like 5x, which for a normal person that doesn't know anything about crypto it's just insane. There are very little places where you can get this kind of return in such short period without doing anything else, without getting expert into stock picking or whatever. And that's why very often people say that traders mostly underperform the market, including myself. I have underperformed Bitcoin for last year. I'm not ashamed to admit it. However, looking into this year, I really think this is going to be a very, very difficult year to plan ahead. There are a lot of people that are very bullish, that are like, oh, the crypto market is going up. It's happening, pack your bags now. It's the last time. It's the last moment. You get all these click titles. And honestly, the market is looking for this. Like even the YouTube videos that show you which tokens to buy, they perform the best, not like the educational stuff. Nobody cares about that. Everybody wants to ape into shit. That's a great indicator that we're in such kind of environment. But I would say that it's not going to be that easy, because as you can see, although we have these kind of cycles that relatively repeat themselves, on the other hand, there are things that have never happened before, like this thing here. This has never happened before. And if Kamala won here, we don't know what would have happened. So this was at all-time high consolidation with an ETF, with a very, very bullish catalyst. that we had a push. So I wouldn't say it's easy to know 100% what's going to happen and if we're going to get the crazy gains. And even if we do, I don't think it's that easy if you're active to choose which will be the tokens that will perform the best because it's going to be insane. There's so many tokens that launch every day. It's not like in the previous cycles, guys. It's like every single project is looking to tokenize. And with the things like Pump Fund that you can just launch a token, there are thousands of tokens coming probably every day. So picking winners is very, very hard. And trust me, I know this because I've gone through this process. And somewhere I've made a lot of money, some I've lost some money. So it's not very easy. And that's why I want to go over also not only the good scenario but also the bad scenario, and plus on the good side where to focus and how I'm personally going to be handling this as the year unfolds and with my time frames. Actually, I'll tell you just exactly what my plan is for this year. So yeah, let's look into the future. Actually, we had a very good price action around the holidays and just around New Year, if you ask me. Really nice consolidation here around the 100K. And honestly, like this level for me is the key here. Like this zone around 85, I would say, to 90K. If this holds, this is super, super bullish because we're just chopping around here. Outs like this in general, although we haven't had another push. Outs generally like this price action, and we could see pockets of liquidity and stuff pumping. And I would say that everything above 90K, I think it's perfect. Perfect conditions for continuation potentially, and also for maybe a bit longer consolidation. It's really key what will happen in the coming weeks. If we start closing below 90K, I would reconsider my thesis. And I'm ready, honestly, to offload a lot of the risk exposure that I have. Because currently I'm like, haven't checked recently, but probably around 20% in Bitcoin, and everything else is in other stuff. Like Ethereum is another big bag. I have probably have another 20% or so. Everything else is in really really diversified shitcoins, pretty much in short. And I'm positioned very well, I would say, for a really last leg of a bull market with a lot of little shitcoins pumping. I'm only 10% in cash currently, so I'm looking to allocate a little bit more. Some tokens I'll show you that I'm looking into. But if this kind of thing starts reversing, and if we start losing this level around 90K, I would seriously consider cutting a lot of my exposure, if not all of it, and probably leaving just Bitcoin for the moment. I want to be really fluid. I made some money. I don't want to be back holding a lot of shit because I've done this in the past. It's not a pleasant experience. But yeah, this is pretty much my first line of concern, like 90K, and then 85K, I would say is the place where I would look to exit if I haven't started exiting, because you see on some charts they're very clean in validations on most of the altcoins that I'm holding. On the weekly, it looks very bullish. Now the first trading week of this year is currently closing today, and you can see like we just had a really shallow correction, and now we're consolidating. Are we going to break 100K? I don't know, honestly. It could be. And I think the midterm bullish scenario is that we get a run into the inauguration, which is in about 15 days, so 2 weeks. And this could lead to something like this potentially. So maybe next week we get a bit more bullish, then we make a push to a previous all-time high around 110, and then maybe we have a correction. But again, I'll be looking, if we break above 100, this will be another level that I'll be looking into, and I would hope so that we consolidate either here or we get a little bit of a more of a push here. But I think if we start breaking consistently 100K and getting above it, I think a lot of altcoins will start getting bananas here. And honestly, the longer this continues, like Bitcoin staying around this zone, I think that's very bullish overall for the market. But we'll see, because there's a scenario that, for example, this should have been very bullish also, because we were pretty much consolidating about all-time high, but alts were bleeding massively here in this period of chop. And Bitcoin was outperforming. It was still chopping, but Bitcoin was outperforming pretty much all outs out there. We don't want to see this happen here. We want a little bit push to the upside, maybe consolidate a little bit higher, then another push, or just maybe it just melts faces, goes to 120K and then consolidates. Any of those cases for me, it's very bullish. And honestly, at this stage, I don't have much to do except for managing my positions because I have pretty good entries on most things that I want. I've even taken some profit already off the table on some of the positions that I hold. I need to probably reevaluate some of the positions that are not doing so well and reallocate to some other places. But I've been positioning for since I don't even remember already, but it was probably October of last year when I started positioning in some of the outs, and they're doing quite well, I would say, on average. And I don't need to rush. I don't need to exit, look into another one. I don't need to FOMO into other stuff. I just need to be very cautious with my risk management and profit targets, and then just go with the flow and let the market do the heavy lifting for me. But if you don't have any positions, or if you're looking to do more, we'll go through some charts. And in general, not only on this call, I'm going to be posting ideas. Maybe I'm not going to be in them, but I'll be posting also videos about stuff that I'm looking into. So again, if you decide to that you want more risk exposure, this will be the place to look for the foreseeable future. So these are the bullish scenarios. As I said, I'm not going to be doing much, but if we start pushing, what could happen is, and the ideal scenario is like we get into this zone right here, and then Ethereum pushes to all-time high, really has a catch-up. So a few weeks like this for Ethereum, and then other, down the line, like lower cap stuff starts pushing, and then maybe we collapse into zero. The best case scenario for this is probably I would be looking into April, May, the latest of this year. So ideally, if this bullish scenario plays out, I'll probably be exiting most of my stuff around here. So ideally, this plays out. Actually, it happened pretty much also the other bull cycle. So we had a push here. This was January, and we had a small correction in January. Maybe we had this already. Maybe we will. Who knows? And then we had another push into March, April, and then we had another crash. But I'm planning to have a very good summer without too many positions if this scenario plays out, or something similar. And something similar happened actually even the last cycle. So the run started here in October, November. The top was in so this was in December. Okay, so this was very accelerated in 2017, and then we had a big old crash. Okay, so yeah, but this is my time frame based on all the catalysts here. With the Trump stuff, I could see a place where he gets inaugurated and he gets to sign a lot of stuff that are positive for crypto. So the crypto stocks can also move higher, and in general just gives a lot of the tokens and people that have been staying aside from altcoins a reason to get into, because it's going to be favorable conditions. So yeah, these are overall thoughts on the market and also specifically on Bitcoin. I am not looking to buy Bitcoin. I do hold Bitcoin from about 60K was my last big buy. I have taken profit on this position. I'm still up like 60%. I'll be looking to scale out more if we go a little bit higher, or as I said, if we start breaking lower. So I'll be probably exiting most of my Bitcoin at this area and then reevaluate and see what happens. Maybe I buy higher if there's something that triggers us to go to like 200, 300K. I'm not waiting for this. For me, I think the magic happens around 120. I don't know if we're going to go higher or lower. It doesn't matter because I'm positioned for altcoin moves. And let's see what happens. Ethereum. Ethereum, I think, is a very interesting play here. So let's go on the monthly. This has severely underperformed. But if we just look into this chart without any other charts that we know, like Bitcoin, you'll see that this is actually a pretty decent chart. So we have accumulation here. So we got a bit of a chop, squeezing into this level around 2K, broke out, a big correction to 2K again to test this level. And now we're playing around with 4K. And I think if this snaps, the next area to like 5K to the all-time high is not that far. And this could get really, really crazy, really stupid, really fast if this plays out. Because I think it's time for Ethereum to shine. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm completely wrong. And maybe because of the ETFs and stuff, we get something like, still Bitcoin rips and Ethereum and altcoins underperform. But I see this as a scenario. I am positioned well in Ethereum. I do have a position, but I don't think it's a terrible place to start buying into Ethereum. If you want like a, obviously not financial advice, but if you want like relatively low risk exposure and relatively good gains, I would say Ethereum is a decent call in this case because let's say it doesn't. Let's pull this. Let's say even you buy it here, you don't wait for a retrace. I would say anything below 3K, you must cut it. So 17% to the all-time high, it's almost 2 to 1 at this point. And then obviously the next level will be, 6K, 7K, and so on, so on. So I think this trade makes sense, in my opinion. And it's an easy trade. It doesn't have to be too difficult to manage it. And there's a very clean level here where we have this weekly close here. This was around November, and you can see very cleanly level that trades on the weekly. We had the retrace to this level, so very clean. If we break this, I think you don't need to be in Ethereum if we break this level. Yeah, Solana, very similar. This one was a little bit hotter, but now it's starting to also correct at a key level and then again pushing higher. So maybe it's got more fuel on the left in the tank, but you can see it's pretty similar chart to Ethereum here, especially on the daily. And a very good play in general if you prefer like a little bit lower risk. However, if you want to go down the risk curve, obviously there are a lot of plays. I'll look into first some of the tokens that I own, and then we'll look into some fresh new things that I'm looking into. So first of all, not everything is doing great. So stuff like, say, I didn't cut this one. I discussed in my last video. I should have cut it here when I was planning to. But long term, it does look good. It still does look like the chart is intact. But my entire plan for this was different. So that's why I'm saying it's poor trade management. I'm still down quite a bit on this. It could still do well, but it's not one of the ones that I'll be overthinking if I cut it. Because, for example, same with Aptos, by the way. These have had like a catalyst. Their CEO left and pretty much dumped all his tokens, which I don't blame him. It's like 300 mil or something. But again, weekly doesn't look terrible. It just looks much weaker than, for example, Sui. So it's been ripping all-time high. And you can just see this chart and compare it to Aptos. It's a no-brainer where you want to put your money into. I was playing this as a catch-up play to Sui. Obviously, this didn't happen, so I need to reevaluate and see what will happen here. Maybe it will catch up. Maybe it will make some gains, but it hasn't been performing well. Another one that's relatively underperforming is Jupiter. Although I really like this one, I'm hoping for a good airdrop now in the next few weeks. And the weekly again looks just it's been coiling up. However, we're starting to get really late into the bull cycle, and this hasn't really moved yet. And it's been down from here quite a bit. So although I like this token, I like the project, I'm still down a bit. Not too much because I've traded this in and out. But looking at this, if you believe it's going to do well, it's not a terrible place to add to the position. But in general, there's been stronger performance. So I need to reevaluate my thesis. And if I want to keep a relatively good sized position into this one, or maybe roll it into something else that I already own and is doing well, or better than this, or I see better potential. So, stuff like this. On the other hand, so these are one of the poor performers. On the other hand, Ondo has been a sweetheart. Like this is becoming my favorite, my favorite token of all time. It's made me a lot of money from here to here, and then from here to here. I took some profit at the top, pretty much around $2. Actually, I'm considering scaling back into this. I still have 60% of the position, but it's just a no-brainer. I mean, it's BlackRock stuff, real-world asset, a lot of things that hit. And its price action is being very clean. So technically, if this breaks down here, I'll be cutting my entire position. But this also makes for a good trade on its own. Like any entry around 1.5 and a stop loss below like 1.3, it's pretty good. Very, very good token. I really like it. A lot of AI tokens are doing extremely well, like EOS. I should have added here. Honestly, this was like my similar to to Ondo. This was like make or break place, like this cluster here of price action. I was like, if this breaks, I'm cutting it. But at the same time, I saw the reversal, I didn't add. So that was a mistake. I missed a bit more to add to the position. It's a good size position for me. But again, as a separate trade, just look at this. Perfect, perfect price action. And this is a, if this breaks out on the all-time high, it's gonna get serious. And I love this. Same with CGPT, a little bit lower, but again, looking bullish. This just got added to Binance, and most of the other AI coins are doing well. GPU, very good. What else do I have? Berry, Strawberry. This one is also consolidating. Very low cap. Still a very good place in my opinion. Palm has been amazing. Again, they have very cool things happen. So I would encourage you guys to go look into their Twitter and see what they're cooking. Very, very cool stuff in my opinion. And I think this could be a very big winner. So I'm holding tight. I don't have a huge size position because this was a smaller cap, but I honestly, I just I think this could be one of the bigger winners, in my opinion. I hope. This is not financial advice, obviously. But again, very clean levels. Like as I showed you with EOS, now obviously this will change with the price action, but with, for example, GPU, again, if we don't break this level around here that we are, I could consider cutting this trade because this could be a failed breakout, failed reclaim. And on the weekly, it does look good, it does look strong, but if we fail here, this means we are making a lower high. And you know what? I'm going to give you an example with this, but it pretty much aligns with all the tokens that I own. And looking at this, I can cut it. And let's say it breaks out. I could be missing on some gains. Oh, sorry. So if this breaks out and I cut it here, I'll be missing on 10-20% gains. I could get into it again if we break out above this $2 level. However, I'll be preserving my gains of 100%. So I wouldn't mind that, you know? And these are the things you should be thinking because everybody's bullish, but if Bitcoin sneezes here, or if after this big retrace on many tokens, including, EOS, if this doesn't make a new all-time high in such a bullish environment, that's actually bearish. So keep this in mind. I'm very closely looking for reversals, and also I'm looking for reasons to cut lower performers. Like TIA has also been one of them. Like, look at this fucking chart. Fucking disaster. This one. Same with what else I got? Say I said Aptos, stuff like Goat. It's been underwater. Doing a little bit better now, but still underwater. This is a AI token, that small one. Again, very clean level. So I would encourage you, if you're into any of those tokens or any of new positions that you are in profit, if they fail to make a new high, you should consider cutting them. Same with Parcel. Very nice reclaim here on this consolidation. However, if it comes closer and starts breaking down again, I need to cut this, even at a loss, because it just switches the thesis altogether. So strongly encourage everyone not to get overly bullish and really start actively managing their positions. I'll give you this example with Neon. I perfectly, like to the hour, I would say, entered this position here, my last entries, just before it broke out. It made a fucking 100% gains in a few days. Guess what? I didn't take profit because my target was much higher, although it reached a key level here and it just sold off. Yes, could it come back and so on and continue? Yes, it could, but I could have also taken at least profit here and then buy back much lower and made money on the way. So think about all of these things because we tend to be like, oh, I hodl for the fucking 10x and that's it. Well, that could be the worst strategy because, first of all, you might never get a 10x. Second of all, what if you get a 5x? What if you get a 2x? What, you'll be sad? Just take profit, and manage losers like Carrot. I love Carrot, but look at it. It's been weak. I didn't cut it here, but I'm considering cutting it here. And again, I might take it when it reclaims this like 50-cent level. But I need to be aware of this because these losers are going to drag my P&L down overall, even though I have big winners. So yeah, these are the pretty much some of my positions because I do have others. Like ZK is doing well, but again, same principle. If it fails to make a new high or breaks down below this level, I need to cut it. On the other side, I have a few other tokens that I'm looking into. The last one I mentioned was Hyperlane, Hyperliquid, sorry, is a new platform. I'm playing also the airdrop thesis here. I will do probably a separate video for airdrops because I've been farming quite a bit, and I'll be farming quite a bit this year. But this one, at a key level, SFP reclaimed. I took a small position. I'm staking the tokens. And I think, although this is at a high valuation, I think it could do well. And even in the short term, I think it's good to know what happens in the ecosystem. And I'll cover these. I'll cover some charts in some other videos in the later weeks. But this chart just looks okay, like reversal to me. So I shared with you the thesis here, but pretty much we had a key level, reclaimed it, retested it with the hourly flipping bullish here, higher highs, higher lows. Again, we have a higher high here. Now we're having the retrace on the weekly, on the daily, sorry, for the end of this week. And the thesis is that this level will hold and potentially we'll get another run to all-time highs. Let's see if this happens, but I do want to have some exposure also for the airdrop angle on this one. Not too small of a market cap, but it trades well. And there are other different strategies you can play. I'll share with you later. These strategies, other videos. Another few that I'm looking into is Cetus. I don't know how to pronounce this. This is the main DEX on Sui. I didn't get good feels here, so that's why I didn't share this one. And I don't think it was a great entry. So very small size for me. But you could still play this range, like even if you don't have a position. Again, very clean setup. Reclaim, push, and now whatever happens here, you can wait either for this to get tested again or for a new setup on the retrace, or maybe we get tested the 30 cent area again and hold it. That's very important. So I think this is an interesting play on the suicide. I'm looking to Pengu, honestly, something like this. Not sure if I want to take it for now, but really bullish chart. Was a big airdrop, should have sold, but it's just holding very well. So these are usually the tokens that make a push. Like for example, Grass, look at it. It got an airdrop, but it never got down and just pushed higher, higher. So these are the tokens that you want to be looking into. And honestly, in general, these are in different areas, but I'm seriously considering focusing mainly on AI. Like Pin, what's this? Pin Link. And you don't need to overthink this. Like there are influencers that are shilling this. It's got a good setup, even this one. I don't even know what the market cap is. I don't have an exposure to this, but I should, honestly. I missed a few entries while I was, operating my eyes and I couldn't see shit. But I think even at this level, this is a relatively good token, especially with the backing of influencers. Neural, same thing, very nice. Missed the entry here. Not gonna give us a retrace probably to this level. But I'm seriously, even without owning any of these, I'm seriously considering that I should probably start getting focused on the AI, because even this one, I was looking at it today and I was out and I just look at it. A lot of strength. If you look into the last week, which tokens have gained more, it's AI all over the place. Now they have the agents and shit, all kinds of AI narratives within the AI narrative, but even the main players and the little low caps, yeah, very, very good setups overall. Even like something like a cash had a big push retrace to a very key level, I would say here. Reclaimed it and now potentially pushing higher. And if we zoom out, if we get it real crazy, this really hasn't broken out yet. This hasn't really gone parabolic. So technically, if you get really, really bullish, some of these AI coins could do very, very well. And some of them are doing quite all right already. But still early and still cheap, some of those. So I would probably do this, honestly. Limits my losers and then look into fresher setups within the same narrative with some research on tokens that I want to be owning and not overthinking it, honestly. We don't have time to cover ordinals and runes, but in general, not much has happened, honestly, on the market. If we just get like puppets, because since I own one, two actually. You can see nothing has really happened here, for the past months. So yeah, we're gonna cover it. Rules have been selling off. I'm gonna do separate videos on those. But here is like nothing to see just yet. But I think if they do well at some point, it will be towards really the end of the bull market. They usually tends to happen like this. So we just gotta be patient and see if we're gonna lose all our money in there or make some. Okay, I see a few um, questions, so let me cover them before it's too late. Okay. How to determine exit or sell half of my position? I have 100k Dogecoin at 20 cents. I don't know when to sell. I'm afraid to become a back holder and I don't want to sell. But if I sell, I'm afraid I'm missing the altcoin run. Well, brother, you just you just need to scale out like Dogecoin. If you are at 20 cents, it's not a terrible entry on Dogecoin. Uh, and look at it. For example, in your case specifically, I would say if we get closes, weekly closes below 30 cents, you should just sell everything. And you could be a little bit more patient and see if we get a breakout above this level. But if we don't, just take some off the table and sleep well at night. And then just scale out when it goes higher and higher. And if it breaks this level, just close it. And if we break above this, like 45 cents, 50 cents, and then run and close below it, whatever you have left, you should sell it, in my opinion. That's just how I'm thinking. Next one. What is the purpose of all these altcoins? Are they useful for buying things? It doesn't matter. I mean, really simple answer to this question. Altcoins are speculation plays for potentially making a lot of money or losing all of your money. And that's it. You don't need to complicate it. You just need to look where the narratives, where the attention is. For example, AI, all the attention is there. It was meme coins last year. So try to put your money where the attention is and just roll with it. You roll the dice, take your money if you make some, scale out, obviously, or take the loss, whatever it will be, but just gamble comfortable amount of money for you, whatever that is, and don't look back. If you get into the details, and I've done a lot of fundamental analysis on projects, it doesn't matter, trust me. Like my favorite fundamental projects have all failed to deliver gains. Like GMX, for example. Look at the chart of GMX. Very good exchange. However, Hyperliquid came out of nowhere and fucking crushed it. And the price action is going bananas. Magic was one of my favorite gaming tokens. Look at it. Looks like shit. So yeah, it's not great to get married to coins for fundamental reasons. Hype trade. What is a SFP? So this is swing failure pattern. Let's open Hype and I'll show you. This is pretty much if you get a level that gets broken like this one, so around 22, you get a close and then it rips back above it and confirms that it gets closes above this level. This is a swing failure pattern. So this is a breakdown that failed in this case. You could get this on the bullish side as well, like right here. This area right here, it broke out on the 4 hour, but it SFP'd. So on the 1 hour, this is probably a breakout. Yeah, there you go. Very weak breakout, but breakout. So you could get this on the 12 hour, on the 4 hour. It really depends, how you look at the charts. But for example, I look a bit higher time frames, like 12 hours one day to determine if this is an SFP or not. Since you explained on your previous video, what would you have made money? You would have made much more money if you had just BTC. So why are you still spending a lot of time on alts and rules? I believe, because I believe we're gonna have a big outrun. And even though I made less money last year compared to just Bitcoin, I think a good outrun could erase that immediately. So let's say last year I could have made 120%. This year I believe I could make 2 or 3x that on altcoins. And I don't think Bitcoin will give me that. So it could give me the returns, but a little bit later. Yes, I could have timed it and just kept it in Bitcoin and then flipped into altcoins, but you never know. It's not a perfect game. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong and I'll suck for this year and the years forward with holding altcoins. So we'll see. Why is there a pyth in front of the hype USD chart? Because it's not, it's hard to find a good chart on Hyperlane on TradingView. And this is one that I'm, Hyperliquid, that I'm using, but you could use KuCoin, for example. It's exactly the same chart. Pyth is just the provider of the chart. All right. What is your take on XRP? Still okay to get in? Let me just quickly look at this one and we're going to close the call. So XRP, I think it could do well, but it had already a 5x run. I mean, don't forget this. This was up 6x from the bottom of this. It's accumulating here. I don't blame the chart. Like if we get back below this level around 220, I would say probably not the greatest place to be. But right now it seems like it's flipping bullish again. So if it holds here and breaks out above 270, I think that looks good. Simply. It's not a token I'll be interested, but I don't think it's a terrible place to look. Not a terrible chart. All right. Thanks, everyone. And as always, if you have questions, you know how to find me.